What's up?
Monday
Morning Jumpstart. Let's go. I need y'all to rise and shine. Come on in here. This is Coach Karen and the Rock Your Vision Squad. I don't know about you, but I want you to know something. This morning, we have a fire in our bones. We were saying to Pastor Andy just a second ago, he was starting to preach even before we got started. So I don't know who you are, where you are, what you got going on, but I want you to come on in here. This is Monday Morning Jumpstart, where professionals and entrepreneurs from every background gather together to jumpstart our week. You know what? It is not time to give up. I don't know if that message is for you, but whatever it is you got going on, I want you to know that I rose this morning. I opened my eyes praying for you. I don't know who you are, what your background is, what you believe. I'm not interested in any of that. I want you to know I have a purpose and a fire in my bones this morning. And I know the squad is right behind me. What's going on, squad?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. What's going on, Pastor Andy Smith?
How's it going, man? Good to see everybody. Man,
yeah, we haven't seen you in a minute.
I know. Well, it's good to be back among family, but hey, don't think that I haven't been watching and learning. So
okay,
I want y'all to know there's been a lot of fire coming out of this on Monday morning. So
listen, I don't know what is going on, but y'all remember that when we started last year, we had no idea. Like, no, Kim, you remember this? We had no idea.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? It was just like, I know we're supposed to be doing something, but I don't know what it is. And so I just want that to be an encouragement to somebody
absolutely
who has something stirring inside of you, but maybe you don't know what it is. I think today's topic is going to light you on fire in your spirit. I just really believe that. Kim, what do you think about this whole topic of will the CEO, I'm going to put something in parentheses, will the real CEO in you please stand up? What do you think about that?
I love that. And Karen, I mean, what you just said speaks to, if you are an entrepreneur, you're wanting to start something new. Sometimes you just have to start, right? You have to start afraid, and it will come. So I love this topic because I think that we are our worst enemy when it comes to stepping out. I talked to a guy a couple of weeks ago, where he was saying, I want to start something new. And he is so talented. But I was like, well, what's holding you back? And his thing was, well, I don't have this figured out, and I don't have this figured out. You're not going to have it all figured out. Sometimes you just have to start. So.
Yeah, come on. I hope that puts a fire in your bones this morning. I'm just going to pop over into the chat. And while I'm doing that, y'all know how we do it. I mean, we came this morning straight, no chaser, okay? We've had no time to be tempered down. All of this is raw, so you better get ready. But before you do anything else, grab your coffee or your kombucha, your tea, or whatever it is you got going on, because we're going to be here for a minute. And then I need you seriously to get your pen. I'm matching this morning, by the way. And I need you to get your notes. I mean, I've got a whole set of notes, because this morning we're talking about an incredibly powerful topic. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to jump in and see who in the tribe is woke this morning. Come on, y'all, just drip on in here. We have none other than Coach John Kowaleski. And I want y'all to know, John is my twin. If you've not had a chance to meet him yet, he is my roadie, my dog. And I love him some kind of big. Him and his beautiful wife, Nomi. And John, I want you to know, baby, we're praying for you this morning. And I had you in my spirit and in my heart. Sometimes, I don't know if this happens to y'all. I start the morning even before I get started. And I'm an empath, so I'm connected to the people around me, to the territory God has given me. Anybody, right? You can sense what's going on even before you make eye contact. And I don't know, I had something going on in my spirit. I literally sat up out of the bed and was just praying. And I could just sense something was going on. And sure enough, John was one of those people that I had in my spirit. So John, we got you, buddy. We got Christy Kent. Come on, influencers, Kennesaw.
Good morning, Christy.
Good morning, Christy. Okay, Christy, seriously, I need some accountability. you and me, and maybe a couple other girls, we're going to take a road trip to go see Coach Kim. Okay, just a girls trip.
Yes.
We're going to do this sometime. I don't know when, but we gotta get something going on. I know things are crazy right now, so we're going to keep all of that in mind. But at some point or another, I'm going to need to get on the road with my girls. I'm just saying. All right, let's see. Who else do we have in here? Vanessa Aliaga, my girl. She's the other half of my brain, y'all. I'm serious. Yay, Vanessa. Good to see you this morning, sweetheart. I am so excited. Okay, wait a second. We have Deborah Jackson in the house. Good morning, Deborah. What's going on? Super excited to see you in here. Let's see. Anybody else? Okay, everybody else is just getting started. So I'm just going to ask you to do us a favor. Go ahead and share, post, do a watch party. I want the world basically to step up in here because we're going to be talking about this topic. Get your pen ready. You ready? Will the real CEO in you please stand up? That's good. Will the real CEO in you please stand up? Now, you know, we're a community of entrepreneurs and professionals and life leaders. I had somebody come up to me a few weeks ago, tap me on the shoulder, pull me aside, literally pull me aside with their mask on. Because, you know, I'm a masker. I love masks. Okay. I've got the bling and everything. Anyway, I digress. My point is, they pull me to the side and they say, you know what? I am not in the workforce and I listen to you every Monday and you are blessing my socks off. Let me be clear. Coach Lawrence said it earlier. This has nothing to do with me. Okay. I was just obedient because I had so many times when I said, nope, we're not doing this. This is not what I'm called to. This is not. And look at God. Come on. Look at God. All right. How he is making an impact right here because of you. Y'all show up. And so this is for you, about you. And we're going to be talking about the CEO in you. So whether you're a professional, whether you're an entrepreneur, I don't care what it is you are called to, what it is that's in front of you. I want you to know there's a CEO in you. And we're going to talk about it practically for our professionals and entrepreneurs who maybe have aspirations and feel that they're called to something more that they are, or maybe you are right there in that CEO spot, running a business or a ministry, or you're birthing something, right? This is going to be the show for you. But before we do any of that, I'm gonna just need you to meet this squad right here. If you are new, Coach Kim Dudash, what's going on? Tell us a little bit about who you are and say good morning to the people.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm Coach Kim Dudash. I am Dudash Executive Coaching. So I work with leaders and teams of leaders to just help them with the very topic we're talking about today, and just how to become a better leader and be more self-aware and more mindful about how we show up every day. And also, I am the co-owner of Dudash Farms. We sell grass-fed beef and pastured pork. And so, yeah, I got a lot of things going on. But just so happy to start my Mondays with you, Karen. I really am, and with Andy and Lawrence. So this is a great way to get the week started. And so I just appreciate you and for you, like you said, just following and whether or not we know what we're doing completely, we just start, like we were saying in the beginning.
Amen.
So anyway, so happy to be here.
Amen. Well, we've got a little bit of everybody kind of joining us in this community. Our community is growing, and Coach Kim Dudash is one of the anchors of our community. Sometimes you start a vision or you have a vision and you start something, you launch something, and you try to figure out what does it look like. And I knew from the minute I met Kim, I don't know how many years ago, 8 years ago, whenever it was, that she was somebody I wanted in my life. I needed her. And I want you to know she has been an absolute blessing to this community and to me personally. So, love you, Coach Kim. All right, let's pull in the doctor, because this right here, he spans industries, he spans professions, right? He's in the corporate sector, but now he's in the academic sector. And I'm just, he's got a little bit of the ministry thing going on. He's a little bit of everybody. And somehow or another, he decided that we were the place he needed to be. So I have my people call his people. And so Coach Lawrence Henderson, what you got going on this morning, dog?
Oh, man, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
What is going on, good people? Ah, God, it is amazing and a blessing to be here this morning. Just
Yeah.
activating voices,
Come on.
and being with this crew always gasses me up. But I got a little octane just in
What?
case
Okay.
the energy goes down.
Okay.
But I am Coach Lawrence Henderson, and I'm excited to be here with y'all this morning. And this topic really hits home for me. It's something that I continue to work on as a business owner, and keeping the main thing. So y'all better buckle up, hold on tight, get your notepads out because I got mine out.
Come on.
But yeah, I'm ready. Thank you so much, Karen, for always extending this invitation for us to show up and show out.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. Coach Lawrence, he's got some good things going on. And so if you are not already following him on LinkedIn, he has an amazing live stream that happens every Monday morning at 11 a.m. So, all morning long, you can join us here at 8:15, and then you can jump over to LinkedIn and join him for his live stream. Coach Lawrence, what's that live stream called?
Oh, it's just called Hot Takes with Boss.
Hot Takes.
Where we always speak to be humble, open, and transparent. Because that's the only people I want to hang around, and that's why I love this crew.
Come on,
and that's we get raw on a Monday morning.
Yeah. You can change the world with that right there. Hot Takes with Boss. Join him on LinkedIn. We are super excited to have you. But I'm gonna be honest with you for a minute. I am super excited to have the bearded wonder here, Pastor Andy Smith. What's going on, dog?
Hey, how's it going? I'm sorry, you caught me writing down Hot Takes with Boss because I'm like, man, I'm going to jump after this and go over and be humble, open, and transparent with my good friend. That's fantastic. That's fire. I didn't know that was happening. Yeah. So I put it down. You're on my list now, man.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's been a minute, but man, I want you to know I have loved every week you guys have been streaming. I have learned so much. People that I'm connected with are talking about all the nuggets. And, we were talking a minute before, but all the 1%ers that are being just rolled out on this live stream are the difference between somebody thinking about it and doing it. And so it's a privilege to be on here. I get to meet the best people and influencers Kennesaw. Come on. I'm a husband. I'm a father and I'm a friend, and I love my family right now here. It is an honor to be here, Karen. Thank you so much.
Listen, thank you so much, Pastor Andy Smith. And so for those of you who don't know, when we got this started, as a believer, for those of you that are new, I make no bones about being a Jesus girl. We're a very diverse community and we treasure that. We love that. But for me, I'm a Jesus girl. And so when God births something in me, and I'll just say this for you, when God births something in you, make sure that you have a covering, okay? Make sure that you have somebody praying with you, somebody that you have accountability to, right? Because anything that you're thinking about birthing, anything that you have in your spirit or your heart, and I'm not talking about necessarily just a business or running a corporation or anything like that, or a ministry. I'm talking about when God is birthing something in you, have some covering, have somebody who is walking the journey, who exemplifies what you're looking for. And for me, that's Pastor Andy Smith and his wife, Leslie, who are my pastors and my spiritual covering, our spiritual covering in this house that we call Rock Your Vision. So yeah, we got it going on. Okay, I know y'all are excited about this topic. Will the real CEO in you please stand up? Okay. Let's think about it for a minute. And I'm going to give you a little background about how I got here. When I started in private practice, so I left corporate, okay, I was in a traditional kind of 9 to 5, 10 to 16 hours a day kind of a job. And I started my businesses. I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. I hope that's just going to set somebody free right there, okay? That's going to help somebody. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew that there was something stirring in me. What do you say? You say, Karen, what does that mean? There was something stirring in you. All along my life, I had clues and little seeds deposited, and those seeds begin to germinate in my heart at a specific time in my life. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Squad, can you talk to me about what that experience, having something begin to be birthed in you, something that just compelled, you weren't quite sure what it was. Pastor Andy Smith, have you ever had that happen to you? And if so, talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, when that happens, there's a bit of a crisis that's going on in you, because most of the time we assume that the call to that new thing, that mission, or even as you're talking about today, that CEO in you has to be the validation of others telling you should do it, instead of the mission coming up within you and calling you out to that. Wow. Very few people get put in a position where they're voted in that they will stay there for long. Wow. But it's what's birthing in you that demands that you step out into something. And so there's this crisis, right? At least for me, there's this crisis because I have to retrain my thinking. And in those moments, Karen, what I found is I need to get outside of myself to figure out what I need to do with this crisis. And the tension that most people are a little bit insecure to wrestle with. Right? And so when that happens for me, I know I have to step out because I know myself. I'm not the best counselor when something's birthing in me, because I'll tell myself all the reasons that I probably shouldn't do it.
Come on.
And yet those are the very reasons that are going to make me a leader worth following if I address them.
Wow. I just got chills. Okay. I'm gonna run with that right there. We call that in my coaching practice a point of positive disruption. Okay, a point of positive disruption. I'm gonna need everybody to write that down. A point of positive disruption. Here's what happens. Here's what Pastor Andy is talking to you about. That thing that happens to you that completely disrupts your life. It consumes your thoughts. It wakes you up. It makes you mad at everybody. Okay, you're mad at your dog when you're going through positive disruption. There's something that consumes your experience as a human, as a Christian, as a whatever it is that you are. And sometimes that disruption is negative. Something happens for me. My point of disruption was losing my mother to ovarian cancer. That was my disruption. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I was going through it, I despised it. Okay. I was not a happy person. I wasn't fun to be around. I was always critical. I was more quiet than normal, right? There are always clues. When you go back and look, there are always clues to periods and points of positive disruption. If you go back and look, you can see what those clues are, right? So that's the disruptive part. For some people, it gives them a physical, it's manifested physically, right? You have severe headaches, or you feel nauseous all the time, or maybe you're very fatigued. Positive disruption. You say, here, wait a minute, disruption isn't positive. Hold on a minute, I'm not done. Okay? Because that disruption is a fork in the road, right? You're going along minding your business and the road is smooth, everything's going fine, and then you get to a fork. But it's not just a fork. That fork is either going to force you into darkness or pain or hurt or discomfort or whatever it is, but you have a choice to make. And that disruption is your entryway to whatever it is that's next for you. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I was going through my disruption, when Mom was ill, we had to move her in with us. I resigned from my job. Many of you know that story. At the time, it did not feel like anything positive. I left the job that I love, my dream job. You know, I had money coming in. I had all kinds of things going on. I was getting invited to speak a bunch of different places. There was no way you could have told me that that was positive. I want you to know something. Rock Your Vision and TAP Executive Coaching would not exist today without that experience. TAP Executive Coaching, TAP, TAP stands for the Alice Project. That is my mother. Alice is my mother. Okay, now we can get into talking about all that, but I want to hear from the squad. Positive disruption. Coach Lawrence, have you ever had a period of, I know everything's been unicorns and rainbows for you, but I'm just curious. Maybe you knew somebody that went through positive disruption.
You know what, as business owners and as people striving and having big goals, I think we all need to get us a rainbows and unicorns t-shirt,
Okay.
just so we can say we got it out the way,
Okay.
because that's not what this looks like. So you need to put it on a shirt.
Okay. Okay. I got you.
But I tell you, Karen, in my experiences as a transitioning service member, I have begun to recognize them, and again, the coach in me has began to use the power of the reframe and see them as not forks anymore, but for me, it was a series of inflection points. It was just curves, and it was curves along the journey that I needed to adjust to, and again, identify even those points where I actually did need to continue moving forward, but it was actually a full U-turn in some instances. And I think when it comes to when you give yourself access to processing information and looking at a situation and using it as data, and and again, really tapping into that discernment and consciousness and pausing and giving yourself that space to just let it breathe. You open yourself to the opportunity to see things differently. And to me, I've been able to gain access to information and people when I'm not in my fields. And it seemed like the moments when I got in my fields, I wanted to detract. I wanted to get in a fetal position and just hold myself. But as I've been on this journey, I need community more than ever. And it was when I tapped into the community that I was able to crowdsource what it looked like for me. And I never forget one of the coaching exercises as I was in one of the best coaching programs I was in. It asked us to reach out to the 3 closest people to us and ask them their 3 characteristics about you. And but the exercise was write yours down first. So you won't try to, push yours off on anybody. But when I got them back, all 3 people said synonyms of each other.
Wow.
None of them were mine.
Right.
And we have this picture of who we want to be, but others are experiencing us differently. And as business owners, we need to know how others are experiencing us. And again, when we talk about branding, we talk about all the rest of that stuff. I think you need to process yourself correctly by first crowdsourcing your community so you can actually see yourself correctly and really see yourself through the eyes of Christ ultimately so that you know what's looking back at you in that mirror.
I love where you're going with this, because part of what happens in positive disruption is we get consumed by the disruption. We miss the positive part, right? We think in the moment that the world is falling apart. And true story, 2020 was the season, it was the generation of positive disruption. All we saw was the disruption, right? The world broke, right? The world broke in that moment. And it felt like it would never end. Then we crash landed into 2021, and it was like, oh, here we go again. And we get focused on the disruption. I need somebody to hear this. I don't care if you are the CEO of a $1 billion company. I work for some of them. I don't care if you're the CEO of a small business. I work with some of them. I don't care if you're the CEO of a ministry. I work with some of them. You're so focused on the disruption, but I need you to hear this. There is something that can come out of that. There is beauty for ashes. Come on, this is good. There is beauty for ashes. One of the power plays for a CEO of any kind is they do not curse what they've been through. I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. They don't curse what they've been through. It doesn't mean you don't feel it, but a CEO, a chief executive officer, doesn't curse what they've been through. They get curious about what they've been through. I'm just gonna stop meddling this morning. I'm gonna stop. Coach Kim Dudash, positive disruption is one of the things that I think you're an expert in. I'm gonna need you to just kind of, from your frame of reference, from your lens, talk to us about positive disruption.
Karen, Lawrence and Andy and all of you, I mean, it's so true. We go through these things. And I was just thinking about my own journey and about how, everything seemed to be going along just great. And then suddenly you get this stirring in your heart and you think, okay, I'm just going to keep going the way I'm going because it's comfortable, knowing that you have this path. But and it's like the more I went down the path that I thought was comfortable, the more uncomfortable I got. Right. Wow. So and you're right, Karen. I mean, everything that I have been through in my life and my career has really prepared me to go forward in the way I was designed to go forward. And so becoming curious about those things and embracing those things. And I tell you, I think for years, I think that the Lord has been trying to tell me to become more mindful. Mm-hmm. And, we hear that it's such a catchphrase. Yeah. And so we, oh yeah, I'm going to take a few minutes every morning and I'm going to be mindful. But y'all, it's deeper than just this little catchphrase. And I think in 2020, God really got my attention, and I truly start every day. And it's a practice, right? We say we practice mindfulness because it's not something that we're going to learn to do and then you stop. It's something that I have to practice every day. But to make sure that I am truly focused on the things that matter. And I love what Coach Lawrence said. We really do need to reach out and surround ourselves with people who can help us know how we're showing up in the world for one thing, right? And can help us grow stronger in that. But then we also need to take some time and really filter through making sure that we are focused on the things that we are to focus on. I look at Coach Lawrence and he's so successful and I think, oh, I need to be like Coach Lawrence, or I look at Karen and, I need to be like Coach Karen, or I need to be like Andy. No, I need to be Jim Dudash. I need to be what God designed me to be. And the only way that I'm going to know that, whether I believe in Christ or not, I mean, for me, that is my source, but we need to take time and really think about and filter through what is true and real and what is my path versus what I look around and see other paths. But yes, I mean, it is, you can go down that path, like you said, of disruption and just feel like, God, nothing ever works out for me. But in your heart and in your spirit, that you're being called to do something different. But we just have to step out. Karen, I remember that very first Monday morning Jumpstart, and it was just me and you. Yeah. And my technology sucked. I'm just going to say, I'm thinking it was so awful and grainy. But you know what we did? We followed what we knew we were supposed to be doing, and we jumped out there and we did it.
Come on. So I just need y'all to lead into what Coach Kim is saying right now. Here's another power play for CEOs. CEOs do not despise small beginnings.
That's right.
Yeah. Come on.
You got to start somewhere.
Full into this. Yeah. You got to start somewhere. This idea that what you're starting is imperfect. Maybe your family is imperfect. Maybe you feel like your family is a hot mess and you've got this thing in front of you, but there is no way that you could do what it is God is calling you to do, or what it is you're curious about, or what it is you're passionate about. Here's the other thing CEOs don't do. They don't give up. They know the difference between giving up and letting go. I'm just going to set y'all on fire this morning. I mean to do business with somebody who is feeling like maybe it's time for me to give up. Listen to me. I was at Target the other day, and I nearly preached in Target. I was checking out, and this woman said to me, I don't remember what I was getting. She was like, there's something different about you. I've never seen this woman before in my life. She said, there's something different about you. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. And I just wanted to get out of Target. I'm going to be honest. I was not feeling, friendly. Anyway, and she said, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm an executive coach and I run a community. She's like, I knew it. And she was like, that is so amazing. But it's too late for me. And I went, what? It's too late for you. Oh, okay. Come on over here. And we stood there and I nearly laid hands on the woman at Target. I'm serious. I'm like, you said that to the wrong person. It is never too late for you. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Oh, and newsflash, the t-shirts came in. They're in my trunk. So all the coaches, they know they get one. And we're going to make it, because this is going to be if you have a pulse, it's not time for you to give up. If you've got something that maybe is hidden right now, maybe it's hidden. Maybe you're going through some things. Maybe you've got someplace else that you're focusing your attention. Just because it's hidden, just because it's delayed, doesn't mean it's your denial. I'm just gonna, somebody lean in here before I start preaching. Just anybody.
Well, I tell you what, you all in my Kool-Aid this morning and all on my notes pages. But I would tell you in another one, what happens, and I'll speak on Lawrence, and in third person, right? That's that PhD.
Come on, that's right.
So it's one of those situations where, because I had disappointment, I counted it as a dead end. Right. And just what you said, your disappointments are not denials, they're not dead ends. They're just opportunities to actually, the Thomas Edison thing, right? He figured out a bunch of ways not to create a light bulb. But in the process, he looked at what else he created, and those could have been other patents, right? We don't know. But for us, it's like, okay, just because you're on this path, don't stop. And again, look, I got just what you just said. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. And underneath that, it says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so for us, and as CEOs of a business, CEOs of ourselves, you got to keep shooting, right? Steph Curry the other night, right? Steph Curry is probably one of the most prolific 3-point shooters in the NBA. Yeah. And he was stinking up the court. Professional athlete, right? But they talking about these guys are professionals getting paid millions, and they go through slumps. But at the end of the game went into overtime, and he goes, he said, man, shoot or shoot. He said eventually it was gonna fall. He says, what I do. Wow. And I'm like, boy, that'll preach. I say, this is what we do. And again, you keep saying it, Karen, is like, what is that thing that you feel uniquely bugged by as it pertains to business, as it pertains to life? And it was like, you might need to sit down somewhere and write it down and say, why is that on me like that? Why is that like you sat there in Target because that's your thing, like empowerment of people, building up of others so they see themselves correctly. That's why that thing hit you. Somebody else, the person behind you, might have heard that lady like, oh, bless your heart. And they'd have kept it pushing. But you was like, nah, shawty, this my ministry. No, because see, I take that personally. Yeah. When somebody says it's too late for me, I take that personally. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all see the pink and the pearls, and you see all this going on back here. You see me speaking somewhere or whatever, and you think that that's been my story all along. But you didn't know me when I was clinically depressed and thinking about leaving the world on my terms. You didn't know me then. You didn't know me when I was sitting in my car wondering where I was going to have something to eat and wondering if I had time to go stand in the food stamps line before I went to my part-time job that was about to lay me. You didn't know me then. You didn't know me when I had no friends and no network and no following, and CEOs were not asking for me by name. You didn't know me then. So let me just tell you, when I hear that, when somebody says it's too late for me, I take that thing personally. Now, I'm just going to stop right there because, as you can see, I'm all up in it. But before Andy Smith has to go, because he's got to leave, I want to give him the floor for a few minutes. He's going to have to leave us a little bit early. But Pastor Andy Smith, I'm going to need you to come on here and set us up for the win on this idea of being the real CEO of our life. And I want to start with this. CEOs, when we look at CEOs, any CEO, think about somebody that you admire, right? Maybe you see them on a magazine cover. Maybe they're leading a ministry with millions of people. We tend to put them on a pedestal, right? Even for those of us that are leaders and we're aspiring to something, this is a community full of accomplished people, right? But even we have people that we look up to.
And when we look up to them, they've got it all together. They've got an entourage, and they've got, they've got a big house, and they've got peace in their home and all of that. Isn't that right, Pastor Andy Smith?
Absolutely. I think what we all have to keep in context is we only see the image of the leader, and we rarely evaluate the impact of a leader. And image will always be the enemy of impact, because
I'm gonna need you to repeat that. I'm gonna need you to repeat that.
Well, we look at the image of a leader, right? We look at the image of a CEO and say, I like that image. But number one, you don't know the path that leader had to go down to make the impact for you to notice their image. And we try to shortcut things in life by imitating someone's image instead of dialing to the call of our impact. Impact is always a different set of questions than image. Image will ask things like, how many followers do you have? Impact will say, how many lives did you touch and transform today? And so I think going back to this idea of disruption will become a distraction if you allow it to only lead you to the mirror of your image, not down the path of your impact. And that's why what disruptions need to be. And I think for all of us, that's a hard lesson to learn, and it's a hard conversation to have. Hey, look, you know what? We all should not worry about our image until our impact demands that we identify it. And like for me and what I do, it's like, in the industry that I'm in, there are so many pastors and leaders that are trying to have this image and this persona. And at the end of the day, the real question is what kind of impact? And that goes back, Karen, even to the idea of a CEO. CEOs get, I think, confused of who they are accountable to and what and who are they accountable for. There is no CEO accountable to its people. The CEO is accountable to its mission. And, and it's accountable for its people. And when we become accountable to our people and accountable for our mission, we're going to have a nervous breakdown, and we're going to have a crisis of belief.
That is so true.
Drives us. So I think for all of us, small businesses, that's why I admire you so much, and the leaders on this call is our whole dynamic needs to shift around. Am I being accountable and faithful to the mission? Is at the end of the day, everything I'm putting my hands to the plow, everything I'm going after, every investment, is it centered around the benefit of the mission? And am I giving my life to be a steward of the mission, therefore accountable to the mission?
Yeah.
Or am I trying to exploit the mission for an image?
Wow.
Like me and to benefit me, and I always, and this may not apply. So you got me now in my people business.
Come on.
But I always say, if me is the priority over we, eventually we dies and it just becomes me. And the fact of the matter is, this idea of image is so self-fulfilling and selfish in such a dynamic way. And we don't talk about selfishness as much as we should. We don't talk about that some of the disruptions are because we didn't stop and step back and look at the discovery process to figure out what those disruptions are all about, right? And this crisis of figuring out what I'm supposed to do, there's a difference in being called out to be a leader of an organization or a business and me being desperate to feel some sense of self-worth and value. Let me just do one more thing, and I'll stop my little rant here. But
come on.
If you are starting a business or trying to launch a nonprofit or lead something out of a desperate need to find your identity, you will never, ever, ever be a benefit to that organization. Because your image will always be the thief and the robber of the benefit of the organization. My thoughts.
I don't know. I just don't know about you, Pastor Andy Smith. I mean, like we could do a whole day summit on what you just said. And what you said, I want you to go back to this. You said that CEOs get confused about their mission and get focused on their image. They forget who they serve and they get focused on what they're doing. And oftentimes in entrepreneurship, when we're training entrepreneurs and folks who are new to business or thinking about business, we say to them all the time, Coach Lawrence, that don't focus on selling things, focus on serving people, right? Coach Kim,
Absolutely.
This idea that when you started in business, one of the reasons why you have such an impact, Coach Kim, is because you knew that you could translate what you had been through, your experiences, your career history, to help leaders and businesses solve problems. Coach Kim, talk to us for just 2 seconds about this idea of shifting our perspective, what Coach Andy was talking about, this idea that we focus so much on the wrong thing as CEOs of whatever it is we've been given to. Talk to us about that for a minute.
Pastor Andy, I think you're so right. We get so focused on the image and we forget what our mission is. And you know, Karen, you're right. I think especially as an executive coach, I need to make sure that I'm serving, right? Yeah. And that I have to realize that with every client that I meet with, and this is one of the things that my mindfulness practice has actually helped. It's helped me to be better, is that with every client that I meet with every client company that I meet with, I'm going to be serving them in a different way. There is no one size fits all. This is a box that you jump into, and this is what I have to offer you. And we're going to have to make it fit. It is really, how I have a servant's heart. I want to be able to meet them where they have the need. But I think, Pastor Andy, you're right. So many people get caught up in making sure that they're getting all the accolades for themselves, and we're missing the boat, and we'll always be miserable if that is our main focus. You said it and I wrote it down. Image is the enemy of your impact. Wow. Yeah. What impact are you having? That's where our focus needs to be. And I love it. Love it. I'm so glad you were here this morning.
Amen. Coach, Pastor Andy Smith, I know you got to run in 2 seconds. So maybe answer this question. We're talking about the maybe a couple of practical lessons for those who are thinking about what it means to be a CEO. And maybe I'll take it here because I want to get really specific. One of the things that I've seen with entrepreneurs is that they're afraid to call themselves a CEO. They will call themselves a founder, a manager, all kinds of things. And true story, for those of you that are curious, I need y'all to connect with Coach Marguerite Presley Davis, who is our financial strategist and a business coach. But it honestly doesn't really matter. Like it matters maybe for the industry that you're in or something like that. But I have seen so many entrepreneurs and business owners who've been in business for years, and I will say, well, I'm curious, why do you not call yourself a CEO? You're running 3 businesses, but you don't call yourself a CEO. Oh, no, I'm not. I don't want to, I don't want to do that. But you're doing the work, but you're not giving yourself credit for what you're doing, right? So it's a way to play small. So Pastor Andy Smith, as you get ready to transition, we're not done, y'all, so hold on. But for a minute, talk to us about this idea of being afraid to step into who God has called you to be.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And let me just say this in context. For years, we worked really hard to shy away from titles because we felt like they were the walls that kept intimacy or authenticity out, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's because we have a poor definition of what a title is. Calling yourself a chief executive officer is not about image. It's about you communicating who's responsible.
Come on.
And so responsibility is, it's when I tell people I'm the pastor of Influencers Kennesaw, I'm not bragging about that. I'm just simply letting you know, when at the end of the day, whatever your experience is here, I'm ultimately responsible.
Come on.
But it also means I have authority. And that's another thing that I think most people don't recognize about that idea of calling yourself a chief executive officer is, if you're responsible, you have authority. There is no such thing as authority without responsibility. And there is responsibility that's not linked to authority. So if I have the authority to do something about it, that means I have the responsibility to do it. And if I have the responsibility, then I need to have the authority. So when I tell people my role, or and people are challenged, like, I just want people to like me for who I am. Your title is not going to make people like you or not like you.
Yeah.
Your demonstration and execution of your mission is going to determine that.
Come on.
But what needs to be clarified for those around you, those under you, and those that you're accountable to is, where is the clear lines of responsibility and who's responsible? So for you, it's like TAP executive coaching. When you say I'm the CEO, people aren't going, she's bragging. We just need to know who to blame or who to celebrate, right? You know, like that's it at the end of the day. And when I need to know who to talk to, if I've got something that I want to do that needs your or that organization's services, for me, it's about knowing. And so I want to put this thought out here. Just this thought.
Come on.
I'm struggling with that title. It means I haven't resolved what that title's for.
Lord.
And I haven't resolved who I am in it. And it may be the reason your company's not going in the direction you want it to go in if you haven't resolved it. We tell on ourselves. And it's because when we want to try to make something seem like it is really humble, you know, if we work hard to look humble, most likely we're the most arrogant, prideful people. And pride is not this overt offense. Pride is an inability to see just how much I'm in the way of my mission. And so I think that's why another thing I would just say as an encouragement or a challenge is, if you struggle with the title, it's because you haven't settled some things. And before you look anywhere else or spend another dollar, you need to step back, look inside and say, why is that a problem for me? Why am I uncomfortable?
I feel like we need to start every Monday morning Jumpstart with a disclaimer. I feel like we need to say, get your coffee and your tea, because we're going to get up all in your business.
That's right.
I feel like we need to say that, because like my backside is burning, because I'm sorry, but I just feel like that just wrecks somebody in the best way possible. And let me just come up on the backside, and then I'm going to ask Coach Lawrence and Coach Kim to join us, because if we're going to get in people's business, I'm going to need y'all to get in people's business too.
Yep.
But here's what I'm going to say. You know, I get it, that it can feel like, well, I'm not quite there yet. But how we represent ourselves in the marketplace, in our communities, has to do with what Coach Pastor Andy was talking about, this idea that you haven't settled it yet. But let me just say this, that if you are searching for people to like you, you don't need to be in business. You need to go back to the drawing board. If you're sitting around waiting for people to like you, I can't tell you how many times I have been challenged with the way that I show up in this work. You have to be decided about who you're going to be in the marketplace. And I get it. We all have things to learn. But I'm reminded that when I step fully into what God has called me to be, who he's called me to be, I've settled that I'm never going to have long hair. Y'all remember I told the story, somebody in my family came for me because my hair is shaved on the side. And you know what I did? I introduced him to Mr. Click. Have you all ever met Mr. Click? He's on the other end of the phone when I put my phone down. Because you know what? I'm clear about who God has called me to be. And let me just help you. Because not a week after that, one of my clients said to me, Karen, when I saw you walk into the boardroom, I saw myself. I was like, wait a minute, what? You need to decide who you're going to be, who you want to be in the market. When you say you're the CEO of something, it means, like Pastor Andy was talking about, that you're connected to the bigger mission. You're not just doing a checklist, right? You came to play and you came to stay. That doesn't mean it's always going to be rainbows and unicorns, but it does mean that you've got something bigger than who you are. I'm just saying. Coach Lawrence, I'm going to need you to bring in this for a minute.
So Coach Andy, you jumping off the top rope with elbows. Karen, we need to give people waivers before they come in the morning, because they're gonna walk out with knots and stuff. Because I got a couple over here. And what came up for me in that is really, am I operating in accordance with the owner's manual? And really, and I'm a simplistic kind of person. Y'all know me at this point. We don't try to make our cars do anything that it can't do. Now I got a Cadillac sedan. I'm not off-roading with it. I'm not. It's built for mileage. It's built to cruise. And for us, finding out what our owner's manual says about us, because when you begin to look at Karen and you begin to look at Kim, you begin to look at Pastor Andy, they got their own owner's manual. And if you try to operate you in accordance with their instructions, you're gonna mess around and crash.
Listen, I'm done with you. Don't you dare start.
I'm starting. Because I found myself, and I'm telling myself the humble, open, and transparent. Humility does not mean lowly. Humility means I have the confidence enough to let somebody else be themselves in my presence. And so if we're gonna be humble, open, and transparent about this thing, I just had to type in my tagline, in my headline on LinkedIn just now, CEO Boss LLC. It's like I had. Thank you, Pastor Andy.
I got you, dog. I got you.
Thank you, because we need to hang around people who see us correctly. Okay. And so for us, and we talk about this business, and again, entrepreneurship, and to those out there who are thinking like, yeah, I have a unique gut feeling that I should be out in these streets. Now, time out. Reel that in, because you actually may be an analyst. You may not actually need to lead people. You may be that subject matter expert that needs to stay in that organization or be in support of someone. Because as people and CEOs of ourselves, we need to identify what's our stuff, how we need to operate. That's why I have a Selena. And Karen, you have the Vanessas of the world and the Sarahs of the world, and I have a Deja, that stuff that I don't want to do. Guess what? That's their owner's manual. So I'm not trying to own stuff that they're actually responsible for. I need to pull them in, and guess what? The humility in me says, get out of your own way, bro, because you're slowing down what you actually should be doing. You can't be focused on coaching, training, and building up people if you still focused on social media posts. That's not your stuff. And so what you need to do is actually get your money up so you can actually have the resources to pay for people to be to operate in accordance with what they're supposed to be doing. And so for me, thank you, Pastor Andy, Kim, and Karen, for this ministry this morning. Yeah, that's what it's all about. This is what we're in community right now, and for it to look like it's supposed to look, we have to overlap. We're intertwined together, but only can it function if people are operating in accordance with what they were made to be doing.
That's right. You know, I had written down, surround yourself with experts, right? I mean, surround yourself with the experts you need, and with a community of people that can see you for exactly who you are, and will point out to you when you're walking down a path that doesn't fit. I mean, I love what you said, Lawrence. You know, I got to work toward my own or off my own owner's manual, and not try to be. I think, you know, when I talk to so many leaders, what I hear them say is, well, I'll do that when I get this together, or I'll do that when this is. And, you know, the thing of it is, I'm not ever going to look like Karen Hilton. I'm not, you know, I need to look like myself. And, so I just think that, I love this. This is awesome. And good for you, Lawrence, for going in there and sticking your CEO title in there, because that's exactly what you are.
You know, I do. I love that. That just sets my heart on fire. But here's really what this is about, because somebody said a couple of weeks ago, they're like, well, you know, I love Monday Morning Jumpstart, and I'm involved and all that sort of thing, but I'm not a whatever. And I just want to kind of sit on this for a minute. Rocking your vision is not about starting a business or being a CEO of a big corporation. That is not what Rocking Your Vision was about. When I started Rock Your Vision, I didn't have any money in my bank account. I didn't have a big network. I had just lost my mom, so I was in therapy. In my view, I didn't have all the things together that I aspired to, right? I didn't know all the things. I didn't know how to set up a business. I didn't know I didn't know any of those. I didn't have any of those things. Rocking your vision, and y'all have heard me say this before. This is part of our tagline, is about recognizing that you have options.
Yes.
When I was taking care of my mom, I felt so heavy, just feeling overwhelmed and disrupted by the experience that I almost got stuck there. But for me, I'm just a little bit crazy and a little bit feisty. And I said to myself, I can't go back to where I was. I've been there before. I can't go back. So what is it I need to do? And I would look around and I'd see other people had the things and what I thought I saw was connected with that image. But I didn't really understand. I'm going to just set Pastor Andy Smith up. I didn't really understand how to make an impact. The way I needed to make an impact was to set, and Coach Lawrence talks about this all the time. I needed to prepare myself. I needed to, take off those glasses. Where are my other glasses? I needed to put on a different pair of glasses to be able to look at my circumstances a little bit differently. That is a power play for a CEO. They don't despise small beginnings. They know how to do the reframe. They tap into the community and crowdsourcing, right? They figure out what their owner's manual is. They do all the things that Coach Lawrence and Coach Kim and Pastor Andy have talked about because they're playing the long game. They're focused on the mission. So I'm gonna need you to get up out of your comparison mode and looking at every other artist or every other every other politician or community leader or ministry. I need you to stop doing that. Mm-hmm. I need you to rock where you are.
Your own vision, right?
Come on.
And Kieran, what I love, when I'm sitting here listening to you say this, you started rocking your vision before you even knew what rocking your vision was. And that's the whole thing. When you feel it in your bones, when you know that's the path you're to take, you just set out and you rock your vision. Yeah. And look where it has brought you. There are going to be things that you're going to be called to do that nobody else has been called to do. You're not going to be able to look around and compare yourself because it doesn't exist yet. You're the one bringing it to the world. So you just have to get silent, sift through everything in that brain of yours. Stop looking for what the outcome is. We create these outcomes in our mind and they're never, we always think of the worst case scenario. So stop trying to figure out the end before you even start the beginning. I just think that's another thing that we do. So just
I love
get
that,
out there
Kim.
And do it.
I love that because, and again, one of the things that I know Karen has mastered, and Kim, you have as well, is, and I'm gonna pull back forward, that mindfulness piece is being mindful of what you're speaking over yourself. Because when you're in transition and when you're in the moment in that process, right? Because we're all works in progress, not perfection. And when you're in progress and process, you have to, it's gonna be muddy, it's gonna be murky sometimes. And just understand that's a part of the process. And so being mindful and being gracious to yourself throughout that process, you need to make sure you're checking yourself. And again, one of the biggest things as coaches, I know that we all do, and this is again another CEO power play, is professional development of self. And what are you reading? What are you allowing to influence how you're processing your day? And if you're not starting with these things like mindfulness, prayer, or whatever it is, so you can get clear and not just at the beginning and at the end. But now I am understanding, for me, I need little things throughout my day. And guess what? Those are calendar events for me. I don't go into another situation, into another coaching session or a meeting without taking 2 minutes. 2 minutes to get clear about what I'm walking into. And if you don't do that, I've noticed for me, I just pile stuff on top of stuff, on top of stuff. And by 3 o'clock, I piled so much stuff from meeting to meeting that I have nothing left for that coaching client. And that's not fair. And it took me to have that check engine light being on. And I'm in the middle of a coaching session. And I found myself here. Watch this one, coaches. I found myself leading.
Right?
What?
I found myself leading. My check engine light was on because I was like, in my head, I need to hurry up and get them through this.
Right. I got to get through this. We got to
Oh my
find a solution so we can
gosh.
go on to the next thing. Yeah, we get completely, we get everything turned around backwards. That's exactly what happens.
I'm telling you.
Y'all are killing me this morning. So for a minute, let's talk to that person who maybe isn't feeling real confident. Okay. Maybe they're like, yeah, okay, I've got my vision, I've got my idea. I don't really know what to do next, but okay, I'm gonna go with it. Let me talk to you for a minute about what confidence is and what it isn't. Okay? Because every CEO knows that every CEO worth following. Let me just set you up right there. Every CEO who is worth following understands that confidence is not the absence of fear. Are you hearing me? Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is what you discover on the other side of your fear. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Or as you're stepping through it.
Oh, come on. As you're stepping in it, you're like, oh, wait a second. I just stepped in quicksand and I made it one more step.
That's right. I made it one more step. And now I have the confidence to take the next step.
Maybe I can take that next step, Coach Kim. When you started in private practice, you had a mix of emotions, right? It's like, well, maybe I should go back to corporate, or maybe I should stay here, or maybe you're starting a ministry and you're like, I'm just going to keep this to myself. But something wakes you up in the middle of the night, just tapping you on the shoulder, and you don't. Confidence is not the absence of fear,
That's
beloved.
Right. And Karen, I think that I can say for myself, I wanted to see it all at once before I moved forward. Right. Yeah. But seriously, you have to take those next couple of steps before you can see the path to take the next ones. I mean, you're not going to, no one ever is. And so if you're waiting to be able to see 30 steps ahead, you're not going to be able to see it. But that doesn't mean you're not supposed to move forward. What that means is you take the next 2 steps that you see, and then it's like sort of like driving in the dark with your headlights on. You see as far as your headlights will shine, but then you drive a couple of feet more and you see more, right? So you're going to have to keep just moving forward. And it doesn't mean because you can't see what because you can't see the full outcome does not mean you're not supposed to move forward. It does not mean that.
Wow. I love that, because one of the things that comes up for me is really getting still and really charting for yourself. And again, coming from the HR world, if it's not written, it's not real. And I love what you do at the beginning of each year, Karen, to get people focused on their vision and how really Rock Your Vision is evolved every year. It evolves because guess what? Definition of it saying it is doing the same things, expecting different results. And so if there isn't a constant, what matters? Am I working on the right work? That's right. And are you keeping the main thing? And so there's this constant churning and moving. And again, Dudash Farms, you can't just keep trying to grow stuff in the same ground. It's already had nutrients sucked out of it. You got to rotate that ground. And if you're not taking the time to churn up things so you can stay focused on what really matters as your right work, then you're setting yourself up for those frustrating times, for those discouraging times. And when you look back, being accountable, taking ownership, right? And I love what Pastor Andy said about the CEO. All the CEO says is who's accountable, who's responsible. And so if you want the title, the rest of the bag in the cart come with it. And so you can't pick and choose. It's not an a la carte buffet when it comes to CEO. Right. Like you get the whole kit and caboodle because I'm responsible for this. And so if you're not ready for that, then you need to have a real conversation with yourself and your coach. I just threw that out there right there.
Yeah. Listen, I just want to pop into the comments real quickly as we get ready to go. It's hard to believe that we've been here for almost a little over an hour or almost an hour already. Seriously, we could go all day, but Sarah Steele, who is just the most amazing artist, fine artist. If you've never seen her work, I want you to head over to her website. Sarah, if you're still on, pop your website in the comments, because I want people to know about your work. She says, very hard, how are you talking to yourself? So oftentimes people will call me or DM me or text me or whatever, and they'll say, Karen, how did you do it? You know, you seem so successful or whatever. And every CEO I know, even CEOs of large billion-dollar corporations, struggle with some version of imposter syndrome, right? Because they know what it took to get them there, and they know what it takes to keep them there. But I want to talk for a second about this thing of self-talk. I could have given up any number of times and would have been justified to give up any number of times since I've been in private practice for going on 8 years. I'm going to tell you my one superpower, and I have many, but this is one that has absolutely changed my life. And it seems really fluffy. I do this with my CEOs. I do it with my senior vice presidents. I do it with my board members. I do it with the stay-at-home moms who are part of our community. It doesn't matter. It's a universal application. Even when you don't feel like you are succeeding, and you may not be succeeding, you may be falling flat on your face. You have a God-given right to fall flat on your face. You have a God-given right to feel insecure. You have a God-given right to make a mistake and to learn from it. But you are giving away your power when you let that thing define the rest of your steps and the rest of your life. You are giving away your ability to lead and to make an impact when you stay in that place, when the only thing you're letting play in your mind is your failure or your misstep or your hard place. How you talk to yourself has to do with knowing that you know that if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Because here's the thing, creators don't keep things around that no longer serve a purpose.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest with you. So here you are, you're standing in the midst of whatever you're going through. Maybe you are a corporate leader. I'm dealing with so many corporate leaders right now who are struggling. They're still struggling with the effects of 2020. They're still having to answer to Black and brown employees. They're still having to figure out how to keep people from arguing at work. They're dealing with all of that. And they're saying, maybe I'm not equipped to lead. Let me just help you. There has never been a better time to lead. Leadership is not about the easy things, y'all.
That's right.
It's not about the easy things. It's not about, sitting and sitting on a yacht. That's nobody's kind of leadership. That is focused on the image, but not necessarily on the impact. So I'm just going to need you to figure out, what is it, the person who loves you the most, the person who knows you the best, what would they say to you? What would they say to you in your hard time? For me, one of the reasons why I love God so much is because there was a time in my life when I had nobody around me that was speaking good things to me. So I needed to go back to my owner's manual, my source. And I said, okay, well, hold on a minute. What is it that God would say about me? Those are the things that I repeat. Do not trust yourself. Listen to me. Do not trust yourself to say those things to you that you need to hear in your darkest season. I'm just saying, I don't care who you are. You have to remember your mission, because your mission is what reminds you of what it is you were called to do. And I believe with everything in my being, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what space, what industry, whatever. Coach Kim has a unique calling on her life. There is something specific that she's supposed to do. We surround her when she needs her arms held up, figuratively speaking, to remind her, hold on a second now, Coach Kim, remember, here's what you're called to do. We all need a minute to take a breath, right? We all need a minute to gather ourselves, but I want you to know something. You are the CEO of something bigger than yourself. I need you. Coach Kim needs you. Coach Lawrence, Coach Andy, Coach Jeff Bull, who's not here today, but we're thinking about you, Coach Jeff. We need you to get reconnected with what it is you are called to do. I believe with all my heart that every one of you watching this, and every one of you that's going to be watching it on replay, every one of you that's watching it on YouTube, you have a unique calling and purpose. I need you to step out of manager mode. I'm going to need you to step into CEO mode because there's something big coming for you and the world. Okay, I'm done. We're done this morning. Okay, I'm just saying this was so good. Coach Kim, let us know where we can find you.
Yeah, I would love to connect with you. I'm on all the social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, at Coach Kim Dudash. And you can find me, my website, dudashexecutivecoaching.com. Email Kim at dudashexecutivecoaching.com. But love to connect. So you can find me just about anywhere. And of course, you can find me here just about every single Monday morning with Jumpstart, because I love starting my week this way. So thank you guys.
Amen. And Coach Kim, real quickly, you also do a live stream called Dinner at Dudash Farms Sunday night.
I do, yeah. Right? So my husband and I, we do a live stream on on Sunday evenings called What's for Dinner at Dudash Farms. So if you didn't catch it at the beginning, I do co-own Dudash Farms with my husband. We raise and sell grass-fed beef and pastured pork, and so we started doing just recipes with our products on Sunday evenings. And so I'd love for you guys to catch us. We do it at 6:45 on Sundays. We just hang out and really have a good time, and do some new recipes. And if you want to get some of our recipes, you can go to dudashfarms.com and subscribe there. And monthly we send out a newsletter with our recipes. So so we just have a lot of fun. And that talk about stepping out and following what you feel called to do. That's another thing. And you can imagine during the pandemic, that was you just have to be constantly, like Coach Lawrence said, evolving, right? Yeah. Checking out what you've been doing and just evolving with the needs that are out there and making sure that you are serving your clients and your community. Whatever you've been called to do, don't think that the same thing works all the time. You just have to keep evolving along with it. So, and like Coach Lawrence says all the time, and I agree with him, it's all about the reframe. So that was one of the things that we did in 2020 to reframe, and it's been a lot of fun. So we'd love for you to join us.
I love that. And true story, they have a cult following, you guys. And it is more fun than Kim has given herself credit for.
We do have fun.
We get in there and Brian is cooking and Kim is walking through the recipes. And it's just so much fun, particularly during this time when we're all at home and, cooking at home a lot more. So y'all make sure that you follow Coach Kim Dudash and join us for What's for Dinner at Dudash Farms Sunday night at 6:45. Absolutely love you, Coach Kim. Hold on one second before we leave. But Coach Lawrence, where can we find you, dog?
Yeah, so you could find me across social media at Boss Lab, BOSSLLAB. If you go over to LinkedIn, type in my full government name. It's Lawrence E. Henderson Jr. I'm the only one on LinkedIn. But I want you all to be able to hang out with me at Hot Takes on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we get humble, open, and transparent. And one thing that Kim and Karen are being invited to is Boss and Friends, because I want to make sure that I'm not hoarding y'all. And I want people to know that I know you, not just in passing, like, hey, I think you remember me, but I actually know you. But I want to expose us all. And I keep telling people, I have access to LinkedIn Live. No, we got access to LinkedIn Live. And so we going to put ourselves out there. If you're a business owner or anything else like that, and you're connected to Karen, you connected to Kim, and you want to just exercise your chops, all pixelated or whatever, it don't matter. We're going to make some audio gold and make sure the world knows who you are. So I'm excited about this season of life for all of us. And I'm just grateful. I wake up eternally grateful every single day to be doing what I do.
Amen. Well, Coach Lawrence, we love you so much. And y'all remember, when you get off of here, take a little snack break, return an email, and then pop over to LinkedIn where you can find Coach Lawrence at his full government name, as he says all the time, which just cracks me up. But he's got some stuff going on there. And I'm telling you, I would love to see us support him and just share it with your community on LinkedIn, because it is a productive and positive place where he's talking about real topics. Like, seriously, y'all, you don't have to sit on the struggle bus forever. I'm just saying, you don't have to sit on the struggle bus. There's some real nuggets being shared there. And so on behalf of the entire squad, Pastor Andy Smith, Coach Kim Dudash, Coach Lawrence Henderson, and Coach Jeff Bull, I'm Karen Hilton. And if you've been joining us this morning, I just want to say thank you. And I want to remind you, and keep reminding you, you've got options, beloved. That's the truth. Whatever it is you're going through, wherever it is you are in your work, your life, we are honored to spend this time with you. All right, we're getting ready to sign off. You've got your jump start for the week. Coach Kim and Coach Lawrence, hold on one second. Say bye to the people. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye, y'all.